Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me. I am still Mosso at thewatchbox.com. That is still my email address. Reach out to me for purchase and pricing details of this or any of our watches. Email me for pricing. I am Mosso at thewatchbox.com. So today we are discussing a watch that came out in 2015. This, and not the pitch black, and not the dark side of the moon, is the true opposite of the white side of the moon. So what is this? This is the Speedmaster Moon Watch, Dark Side of the Moon Black. So named because it's black and then there's more black. The dark side of the moon has a few light highlights, and the pitch black has visible, bright-colored luminova even by day. This watch completely blacked out, a full stealth bomber for your wrist. It is the purest of the blacked out watches of the 2010s era. Thrown it on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference, we get a good sense of the size of this full ceramic case. So it's 44.25 millimeters in diameter, 16.5 millimeters thick, and then from lug tip to lug tip, 49.7 millimeters with a 21 millimeter spacing between the lugs. My wrist is 16 centimeters circumference, and this watch, though the same size as the other of the moon models, looks a lot bigger. It's so monolithic and stark that it reads as all of a piece, a monoblock rather than an assembly. It is an incredibly punchy watch and a mysterious watch, as a lot of folks aren't going to know at first glance what it is. It's by far the boldest of the Dark Side of the Moon series, and yes, that includes the white side of the moon. This is even more committed and aesthetically pure. Now, taking a look at the strap, you can see textile on the top, calfskin on the bottom. There's a red contrasting stitch. We have a monotone stitch, we have a folded edge. You can see there's some bolstering to give it some volume, and then there's a rubber gusset that's sewn in to prevent the strap from getting gouged. We have a ceramic and titanium folding clasp. The external parts are ceramic and polish and satin. The idea being, once this is buckled on your wrist and you're moving your wrist over your desk, the part of your watch that goes desk diving is not going to get scratched, because this ceramic, just like the ceramic of the case, super hard and scratch resistant. Now, there are two triggers. Press them both. This opens up internally. It is blacked out titanium. And the way this works is we have two pins, and then we have two tabs. And to size it all up, you impale on the two pins, and then you lock the edges under the tabs, just like that. And then all the excess length goes under the clasp body and under the straps. There's no need for minder loops, and you don't see any of that excess length when the watch is on the wrist, so it's a really clean look. You can see the famed lyre-style lugs, inward and outward bevels. We've known them on Seamasters and Speedmasters since the early 60s. So you can see the inward bevel is satinated, the outward bevel is polished, and it comprises a bevel that runs longitudinally from end to end. And then we have a satin finished midcase. Not an easy thing to finish ceramic the same way you would finish metal. Getting the polish and the satin as well as the clean breaks between them, a testament to the material science might of the Swatch Group and Omega. We have a little Omega crown right here. You can see the Omega logo, pump style pushers. Let's do a loom shot, because I know you're wondering. This is the black variety of Super-LumiNova. And as you can see, well, it's black by day, it's almost black by night. Although the chronograph seconds hand is loomed, it fades quickly. It fades almost like an aged tritium dial in the seconds after you turn off the lights. So this one is, ironically, a creature of the day. Now we've got a bubble-like domed and cambered sapphire designed to give the watch a little bit of a vintage look, and that is compounded by the twin register layout, which is bilaterally symmetrical and a little bit antiquarian. You can see that we have a coaxial set of hands for chronograph hours and minutes over at 3 o'clock, so it is a 3-register chrono despite the 2-register design. There's a tachymeter scale on the ceramic bezel, and it can be used with the blackened chronograph seconds hand to gauge speed, such as a race car over a kilometer. The dial, as you'll note, if you can see the center, is zirconium oxide, so the dial is also made of ceramic, in this case matte black ceramic. We have two dished sub-registers. We have applique indices for the hours, and then we have a black on black date disc down at the bottom. Let's take a look at the setting modes. We have a time zone feature that allows me to jump the hour back and forth. Note the watch keeps ticking, the chronograph keeps running, the minute hand is not budged. I can even drive the date forward and backwards, depending on which direction I'm traveling across the international date line. And if I wish, I can pull the crown out all the way and activate hacking seconds, and that truly does stop the watch to synchronize to a reference time. Now take a look at the reverse side. You can see underneath the skeletonized bridge, we've got the column wheel. They even label it for you. The action is crisp. Sounds good, feels good, and there's a vertical clutch. So with the vertical clutch, watch the chronograph engage here. No jump, no hop, no imprecision. That's the consequence of a vertical clutch, which has no additional play. And because the vertical clutch doesn't have additional wear and tear on the system, you can leave it running full-time if you like. The watch is an automatic winder, bidirectional on ceramic bearings, 2 barrels in series, 60-hour power reserve. And the nice thing about the twin barrels in series is that the mainspring torque curves are phased, so it has a very flat torque plateau, with the sole exceptions of the extreme ends of the power reserve. But for most of that 60 hours, you'll get a very constant amount of force to the escapement and constant amplitude, which along with the regulation and COSC chronometer testing ensures a very, very regular timekeeper. And yes, it is a COSC certified Swiss chronometer. You can see adjusted in 5 positions and a temperature variation, 54 joules. Full balance bridge, free-sprung balance, very shock tolerant. The free-sprung balance with variable inertia masses allowing for an extremely precise adjustment. We also have a tri-level coaxial escapement, double impulse, 1 direct, 1 indirect. Tangential friction rather than the sliding friction of a conventional Swiss lever. So George Daniel's most famous innovation, beating inside this Omega to improve power reserve, chronometry, and also reduce maintenance needs. The watch is 50 meters water resistant, so with a push-down crown, we're going to consider this to be dress watch water resistance. So basically rain or washing your hands only. Do not submerge and swim with it. And then we can see across the bridges, we have machine-finished features, but they're attractive. Solarization over the bearing, spiral arabesque Côte de Genève across bridges, and the winding rotor, we have both blackened and polished screws. You can see there's a snailing on the edge of the bridges, and then a handsome, albeit machined bevel on the edge of the bridges here. Lots to love about this watch. Full of features, and again, completely committed. Highly anti-magnetic, almost completely shockproof, and a watch that will engender strong opinions. If you like to fly below the radar, well, a stealth watch might actually be for you in a figurative sense, but if you literally like to fly below the radar and not be seen, probably not your watch, because this watch will be noticed and get questions. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.